It's as we started off on this Thursday, we jump right out to Zoom and say hello to our man, Lee Sterling from ParamountSports.com as we are in the midst of Locktober. What a great time to be you, right? You got college football, the NFL, baseball playoffs. We just started the NHL season. NBA starts next week. There's just so much going on in the sports world right now.
Yeah. You left out UFC also.
I apologize.
I
knew that.
But who's counting? So
you are, and yeah. Paramount Sports is counting because that's part of that. That's part of Locktober. You guys get UFC as part of those picks, and you've done very well with the UFC predictions, haven't you?
We have. It's not easy. They have 20-30% juice there going on in the UFC, so a little harder. You got to pick your spots, but we've had a lot of success, and it's got to study tapes. You got to find out. A lot of these guys are changing gyms left and right, changing trainers. So that's important. You got to be up on all of it.
Are there any handicappers that you would love to get into the octagon for a few minutes so you could just take care of business and end it very quickly?
Vegas Dave. You know who he is, don't you?
I do. I do.
Yeah.
All right. That's good.
You know what? I mean, anyone, and I'm okay with anyone selling picks, but it's the lying. When you're telling people, you went 16-0 and you went 1-15 the day before. So you just can't lie. Most I can ever say is like, we lost last week. I lost for my clients. I went 5-7. So I say, I've won 7 out of 9 winning weeks. I'm not lying. I've won 30. I think we're 37-19 the last 5 weeks. Great run. But I mean, if someone's going to tell you they're 82-4, they're lying. I mean, this is a great run. If you hit 59% in the season, it's the greatest season. I've had one season in 29 years above 60%. That's it. The next best, 58%.
No, I understand. Sports wagering was not built on winning consistently every single time. If that's the case, they would have been out of business a long time ago.
Right. So they just want half the action on one side, half on the other. Mm-hmm. They know that people are going to bet teams they're familiar with, popular teams. People love to bet the Cowboys. People love to bet the Raiders. Used to be the Dolphins, still semi-popular. Baseball, the Yankees. So they juice up those favorites. If you want to play those teams, you're going to have to pay a little more. So, there are some good people that do what I do, and also some really bad ones, not even using their real name. And I mean, when you take advantage of people, it's just wrong.
I hear you. We're with Lee Sterling right now, ParamountSports.com. Let's get started. We got 5 games to get to, 3 in college, 2 in the NFL. We'll begin with Alabama, Tennessee. Now, the line is 7.5 for the Crimson Tide, but this will change a lot if Jalen Milroe goes in at starting quarterback, won't it?
Yeah, it'll come down to maybe 4 or 5. So I think Bryce Young's playing. That's why the line's sitting at 7.5. I think obviously not 100%, but I think he's going to be a go. And Tennessee is getting closer. Last 5 years, closest they've come has been 22 points. But let's talk about their injuries. Cedric Tillman, star receiver, over 1,000 yards receiving last year. He's not going to play. 12 touchdowns, out. 2 of the top 4 defensive backs, it looks like, will not be a go. And they're ranked 128th out of 131 teams. So this is trouble against an Alabama team. Still good. Do I think this is one of their best teams? No. Nothing close to 2 years ago. But they haven't played well. I think it partially falls on their coordinators. You just feel like there's no flow going on either way here. And I think Tennessee was kind of gifted the win last week a little bit. Not taking too much away from them, but LSU fumbles the opening kickoff. When that happens, it seems like, that team is done. Then they give up a 58-yard punt return, and then they go for 2 straight possessions on 4th down, don't get it, and all of a sudden they're down 20-0. So I think Alabama's the right side here. I think they're still much better, and don't love the Tennessee coaching staff. So I'm going to lay the 7.5. Roll Tide, 45-31.
Lee's second game is Michigan and Penn State. It's at the Big House. Michigan -7. They're both undefeated. Penn State's 5-0. Michigan's 6-0. Somebody's got to lose in this one. Who's it going to be?
I love the way you said someone's got to lose. So last year, back and forth, and Michigan scores with 3 something to go on the clock in the game, and they pull out the 21-17 win, and they escape Happy Valley with a win. I thought both teams were very similar. I think both teams again this year, very similar. Penn State, though, has a bye week to prepare, game plan, and I think it's their circle game. I think it's that game that in the offseason, averaging 6.2 yards per carry, scored 11 touchdowns. But for Penn State, Singleton and Allen, they've gained a combined 770 yards and scored 8 touchdowns. They actually average combined 6.4 yards per carry. And remember, Sean Clifford went in there 2 years ago, won 27-17. I think the wrong team's favored. I like Penn State, 23-20.
All right, Lee, we'll keep things moving with our final college game. It's TCU and Oklahoma State, another battle of undefeateds. Both teams are 5-0, 2-0 in the Big 12. TCU has looked awfully good. They're ranked 13th. They're at home. Oklahoma State's ranked 8th. TCU -8 is where we saw it yesterday. It's down now to -4. Lee, what's happened that's cut this line in half over the last 24 hours?
So I think that the people realize that Oklahoma State is really solid. So this is another game where both teams, I think, are similar in talent, especially the offense. They actually average the same scoring, same amount of points. I believe, though, TCU is a little more dynamic on offense. They have more home run hitters, but Oklahoma State, more battle-tested on defense and much better special teams. Their kicker, Tanner Brown, 8 for 8 on field goals, hit all 26 extra points. The 2 TCU kickers, 3 for 4 field goals. They missed 2 extra points. And kick returner, Jaden Nixon, touchdown on a kickoff return against Baylor. He also returned 1 all the way to the 1-yard line. That might be the difference in a close game. And then you talk about TCU, not one of the better home field advantages. Only 19, 27, and 3 against the spread as a home favorite the last decade. I think Oklahoma State pulls off the small upset, 37-34.
That takes us to the NFL, Lee. We got 2 games to talk about. Let's get to the biggest one everybody's getting into. Buffalo and Kansas City. Should be terrific. Right now, Josh Allen is arguably the best quarterback in football. He can do it all. Buffalo has been so much fun to watch. But then you got Patrick Mahomes on the other side. These are the 2 best quarterbacks in the game, 2 best offenses, and arguably 2 of the best teams in the game. Somebody has to be favored, and it's Buffalo -2.5. I guess we could have had a pick'em game, but that's not the case. Give me your thoughts on really game of the year in the NFL.
So it was incredible last year. I mean, that game, you didn't want it to end. And unfortunately, one team had to lose last year. But people forget, or a lot of people do, that Buffalo won the first game. And they blew out Kansas City. I think they're much improved from last year. I think their front 7 is the difference. So they get to the quarterback more and also have more depth. But the biggest mismatch, in my opinion, is the Buffalo wide receivers against Kansas City DBs. Devontae Adams just ran right by whoever they put on. Buffalo has 3 guys that can do that. And they come in different shapes and sizes. I believe see Stephon Diggs is the best, but the other 2 guys are really talented. So I think that's a mismatch here. And then even special teams, Kansas City's kicker didn't play last week. Even if he plays this week, not 100%. I like Buffalo. I think they're going to get it done, 42-28.
Lee, when we're talking about the AFC, if it's not these 2 teams right here in Buffalo and Kansas City, who do you think it could be going out and representing the AFC?
That's a tough one. I think they're head and shoulders above every team. I mean, it's not even close. I mean, and it starts with the quarterbacks too. Talent-wise, the Chargers are really talented. And what's crazy is they're playing probably their best football now without maybe 2 of their top 3 players. So some people thought Denver would be good, but they're done. I mean, biggest problem for Denver is they could be done for the next 4 or 5 years. How do you write off that contract? So I don't think we've ever seen a quarterback that people still thought had 2-3 years left in him done at age 33.
Unbelievable. Talk about Russell Wilson and what that's been. Final game, Philadelphia hosting the Cowboys. Dallas, the resurgence with Cooper Rush. They're 5.5-point underdogs to the Eagles, the only undefeated team left in the NFL. Last week, Cowboys were 5.5-point dogs. They beat the Rams. Can Lightning strike twice in this key NFC East matchup?
Why not? I mean, Dallas dominated in both games last year. Philadelphia, their center, left guard, left tackle, all game time decision. So, Dallas's defense is special right now. Look what they did to the Rams last week. They sacked Stafford 5 times, 3 turnovers, held them to 10 points. No one scored above 19 points. I think this is a low-scoring game. And for that reason, you got a low-scoring game. You're getting almost a touchdown. You grab it and run. I think Dallas pulls off the outright upset, 21-17.
Man, oh, man. All right, Lee, let's talk about what you've got at ParamountSports.com. You're in the midst of October, and you got one of the best college football games we're going to see this weekend in the Pac-12 as your game of the week.
Yeah, Utah against USC. Everyone's been waiting for this game. Must-win game for Utah. USC, we're going to find out if they're for real. Playing in Salt Lake City is no easy task. You want to get the game for free? 800-400-9741. Again, the number 800-400-9741. If you want to come on board, we don't call it October, call it Locktober. You get 3 weeks of action through October 31st, just $247. Use coupon code SAVE100, 3 weeks of action. And we rate the games from 10 to 50 units. We've not had a game this year above 40 units. I have 2 45-unit plays, one in college, one in the NFL. Those are included. Generally get 10 to 14 games a week, and we're 51-18 on these 45, 50-unit plays. Last decade, just one place, ParamountSports.com.
Terrific stuff as always, Lee. Enjoyed the conversation. Look forward to doing it again with you right back here next week.
Okay, Steve. Take care. See you, Adrian.
There he is.